are my favorite shows, and I rank them from 1 to 5 every week based off 3 things. Character development, story arc, and plot, and what's new. Gadgets, new gizmos, new heroes, new villains. Now, let's get to our shows this week, and they'll be Dragonball Super, The Flash, Ash vs. the Evil Dead, Luke Cage, Supergirl, and The Walking Dead. Now, you're going to notice that there's only 6 shows this week. 4 of our shows were off this week. Our 4 shows that were off this week are Arrow, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Legends of Tomorrow, and Supernatural. So, without further ado, let's get to Titan number 5. Titan number 5 this week goes to Supergirl. Supergirl, thank goodness. Okay, this week Supergirl really stepped up their game. They really came out swinging. First of all, in this episode, Mon-El, Superboy, got captured last episode, and in this episode, like, Supergirl got captured. Like, what is that? And then they end up using this machine to drain her power so that they can get some of her blood, which I know what they're going to do with that. They're going to use that to make Power Girl. So, also in this episode, we find out that the head of Cadmus is Lena and Lex's mom. Their mom. Like, that was a big, huge character development and, like, huge to the story. Holy crap. Also in this episode, we got Cyborg Superman. Like, what is that? But he looks like the Martian Manhunter, so it's like Cyborg Superman, but he looks like the Martian Manhunter. And come to find out, in this episode, like, Martian Manhunter is turning into a white Martian. What is that? So much crazy shit that happened in this episode. Really exciting episode. I gave it a 9 this week. Really, really amazing. And next week, we're getting the big 4-night crossover with Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be exciting. Now, let's get to Titan number 4. I want you to think about what was. I want you to think about what happened. And I want you to think about what could still happen. I need you to know me. Lucille is thirsty. She's a vampire bat. And Titan number 4 this week goes to The Walking Dead. This week on The Walking Dead, we've taken a break from what's going on in Alexandria. We've taken a break on what's going on with Negan and the Saviors. And now we're focusing on the hilltop. So in this episode, Gregory is dealing with Jesus and Sasha and Maggie. And Maggie's dealing with all her shit. And in this episode, Gregory tries to out them when the Saviors come a knocking. And it feels like almost like Simon is more Negan than Negan. What is that? Overall, I give the episode a solid 9. It wasn't quite as good as last week, but it was still a pretty decent episode. And then especially at the end of the episode, Carl and Jesus jump in the back of the trucks. Enid left the compound, left that area in search of Maggie, and of course, Carl follows her. And in this episode, we got the double kiss. We got Rick kissing Michonne, and we got Enid kissing Carl. So that wasn't epic. It was just hilarious. So overall, fantastic episode. And next week, we're getting closer and closer to Rick rising up and saying, you know what? We're going after Negan. So, a lot of excitement, a lot of good stuff. Stay tuned next week for some more epic stuff. Now, let's get to Titan number 3. And Titan number 3 this week goes to Dragonball Super. This week on Dragonball Super, I gave it a 9.5. It was an amazing episode, but here's the situation. This is what we're dealing with. We've reached the end of the arc in which Zuno comes up and gets rid of Zamos after Zamos has exploded to fucking pieces and pretty much invaded the universe like a damn disease. So we've got the end of that in which the timeline had to be erased and Zuno didn't know who Goku was and they go back to the past. Like, the episode was real good. Like, I thought the character development, the ending of Zamos, and seeing Zuno, but I feel like we've still got a lot of plot holes. I feel like the fact that Mai and Trunks are going to this new timeline where they exist, I feel like is asinine, because they should just stay in the timeline with Goku and Vegeta and all them. I'm just saying. What is that? I mean, it's exciting, you know, we waved goodbye to Trunks, and we seen Gohan training at the end, which was really epic. So, once again, this week on Dragon Ball, we're getting a lot of epicness and a lot of plot holes. So, epicness plus plot holes equals Dragon Ball Super. Now, let's get to Titan number 2. Titan number 2 this week goes to Luke Cage. Luke Cage gave it a 9.5 this week. Another amazing episode of Luke Cage. Like, week after week, we're getting more and more of these cliffhangers. We're getting more and more of this epic goodness. After last week's episode, Luke Cage got shot, dude. What was that? He got shot by that Judas. And come to find out in this episode, we find out that it's his brother, Diamondback. So Diamondback is his brother. Like, what is that? Meanwhile, the cops think that Luke Cage killed Cottonmouth, but Cottonmouth didn't do it, and we got Shade stepping up, moving Mariah into place, molding her and shaping her into this evil bitch. Like, I don't know what's going on, but it's some crazy shit, to tell you the truth. So we got that going on. Like, the cops are looking for Luke Cage, and he's laid up in this building, just shot, and they're trying to get the bullet out, and it keeps wedging its way in further. Like, what is that? And then at the end of the episode, there's a standoff between Diamondback and Luke Cage, and he shoots him, and like he's in the back of this garbage truck. Like, wow. Just incredible episode, 9.5, amazing character development. The story, the arc is really reaching a fever pitch. It's really hitting home. And I love the music, and I love the cinematography of Luke Cage. And it's going to be really exciting next week to see where that goes. Now, let's get to our Titan of TV. This TV this week goes to the Flash. Yes. Now you're gonna ask yourself, like, Spike, why are you abnormally excited? Because week after week, I talk to you about the colossal fuckery of Barry fucking up the timeline. And for the first time this whole season of The Flash, the timeline has come knocking. The repercussions of your actions, Barry, have finally collided on you. Especially in this episode, Caitlin becomes Killer Frost, and she's like, it's your fault, Barry. She brings up the fact that Cisco's brother Dante died because of Barry. His responsibility in him fucking up the timeline finally came to a head. And it's to a point where Savitar, the god of speed, is like, listen, Barry, enough of your shenanigans. You're done. So, Wally breaks out of his little cocoon thing, and now he's got super speed. Holy crap. So now he's a Flash now. Barry is dealing with what he's done finally. And Harrison Wells is helping out the team more and more every week. Joe is dealing with the fact that, holy crap, Wally's got super speed now. What is that? So overall, I gave this episode a 9.5. Flash really came out swinging this week. It felt like we got a good story. We got the fight with Savitar, which that was epic, in which Cisco and Caitlin show up and they freeze him so that they can actually see him for the first time, and Barry's able to get away. But it's like the more she uses her powers, the more she's going to that dark side. So, incredible episode. I'm glad to see that the Flash is coming back, and especially next week, we've got the crossover, the Fortnite crossover with Supergirl, Arrow, Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow. By the way, before I end this video today, the one that didn't make the cut this week was Ash vs. the Evil Dead. Okay? It was a 7. It was better than last week, but to tell you the truth, it's not worth mentioning. It just didn't step up its game very much. So, thanks for tuning in on Titans of TV today. I'm your host, Spike Von Shadow. Like, share, subscribe, and tune in next week for the big, massive crossover. Also, Dragon Ball's starting a new arc, moving forward in a new direction. So a lot of epic stuff, and hopefully Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D's coming back next week. So I'm Spike Von Shadow, and I'll see you next time.